In October 2023, Toyota pushed a car onto a stage in Tokyo and called it the future, the Lexus LF-ZC, a battery promising roughly double the range of anything Lexus had ever built. A body cast in single pieces instead of welded together from hundreds. Software designed to learn its driver. Journalists wrote that Toyota had finally woken up. On May 31st, 2026, a Toyota executive said one sentence to a Japanese newspaper, and the car stopped existing. Not delayed, not redesigned. Gone. Almost nobody reported the reason. It had nothing to do with electric cars. It had to do with a single object, sitting in a factory that can never be changed once it is made. In 6 minutes, I am going to show you that object. And I am going to show you what Toyota did on the exact same day it killed this car. Almost everyone has this story backwards. To understand the size of this decision, you have to understand what Toyota was promising. The LF-ZC was not a design study. It was the flagship of the entire Lexus electric plan. Lexus had committed to selling 1 million electric vehicles a year by 2030 and to going fully electric by 2035. The LF-ZC was the car that was supposed to prove it could. Inside, it was a new prismatic battery aimed at roughly twice the range of a conventional lithium-ion pack. A software platform called Arene, running an AI companion that would learn your routes and your habits. And a manufacturing method called gigacasting. Production was set for 2026. Then it slipped to mid-2027. Then, on the last day of May 2026, Toyota Executive Vice President Hiroki Nakajima told Nikkei and other Japanese outlets, "We have discontinued development of the Lexus LF-ZC. 3 years of engineering, supplier contracts, a stage in Tokyo, deleted." The official explanation was cost. And the official explanation is true. It is just not the whole truth. Because the cost Toyota was afraid of was not the cost of the car. It was the cost of one mold. Gigacasting is one of the strangest ideas in modern manufacturing. Instead of stamping dozens of steel panels and welding them together into a car body, you force molten aluminum into an enormous mold under extreme pressure. What comes out is a single piece of metal. One casting can replace 70 or more separate parts. Fewer welds, fewer robots, fewer places for the car to fail. Tesla did it first, on the rear underbody of the Model Y, starting in late 2020. It made the car cheaper, faster to build, and lighter. Every automaker on Earth took notes. But there is a trap buried inside gigacasting, and it is the reason we are here. A stamping die can be adjusted. If the car changes shape, you modify the tooling and carry on. A gigacasting mold cannot be adjusted. It is a single, enormous negative of the vehicle. Once you commit to it, you have committed to that exact car, at that exact volume, for years. There is no version 2. There is no small revision. Toyota reached the moment where it had to place the order, and it ran the numbers on a flagship luxury sedan, in a market where premium electric sedans were not selling. Reporting in Japan says the molds and the production equipment were simply too expensive to justify. So Toyota walked away, which is where this story becomes genuinely strange, because the entire world read this as Toyota running away from electric cars, and the numbers say the exact opposite. Here's the fact that breaks the retreat story. In 2025, Toyota and Lexus together sold roughly 199,000 fully electric vehicles worldwide. That is not a collapse. That is an increase of more than 40% over the year before. Toyota has committed around $70 billion to electrification, with roughly $35 billion of that pointed at battery electric vehicles specifically. Companies fleeing a technology do not grow their sales in it by 40% in a single year. They do not spend $35 billion on it. And Toyota was not alone in slowing down. Honda scaled back parts of its ambitious Zero Series program. Subaru retreated from portions of its electric plan. Mazda softened its timeline. Across the industry, the companies that had promised all electric lineups by a fixed date were quietly writing off staggering amounts of money and moving the date. So this was never fear. It was arithmetic. And there is one man who has been doing that arithmetic out loud in public for 4 years, while most of the industry laughed at him. His name is Akio Toyoda. He is the grandson of the family that built the company, and today, he is Toyota's chairman, not the chief executive. Koji Sato took that job in April 2023. That distinction matters more than it sounds, because it freed Toyota to say things a sitting CEO could never safely say. In 2022, he told reporters that the auto industry contained a silent majority, people who privately doubted that electric vehicles should be the only option, but who would not speak up because everyone had agreed it was the trend. In early 2024, he went much further. He predicted that battery electric vehicles would reach at most 30% of the global market, no matter how far the technology advanced. The other 70%, he said, would be hybrids, hydrogen, fuel cells, and combustion engines. And he added 4 words that traveled around the world. Engines will surely remain. He argued that with 1 billion people living without electricity, building expensive electric cars was no answer for them. Customers, he said, not regulations and not politics, should be the ones who decide. He was called obstructive, outdated, a man defending a dying past. But before you crown him, you should know that Toyota's own record is not clean, not remotely. When Toyota finally launched its first proper electric car, the BZ4X, it went wrong almost immediately. Within weeks of reaching customers in 2022, Toyota recalled it. The hub bolts could loosen. Under hard driving, a wheel could come off the car. Not a software bug, not an infotainment glitch. A wheel. For a company whose entire global reputation is built on the idea that a Toyota simply does not break, it was the worst possible introduction to the worst possible technology at the worst possible moment. Rivals used it as proof that Toyota had no idea what it was doing. So when Toyota tells you it is playing a long game, remember that the long game has already produced one genuine disaster. And yet, by 2026, the deadlines had started slipping everywhere. Battery factories sat underused. The companies that had bet everything on a single powertrain were the ones explaining themselves to shareholders. Toyota has been the best-selling automaker on Earth for 6 consecutive years. It got there on hybrids, not on electric cars. And still, in a recent interview, Akio Toyoda said something that does not sound like a man who has won. He said he feels very alone, which brings us back to that object. Because Toyota did not simply cancel a car on May 31st. It did something else that same day. And this is the part almost nobody reported. On the same day the Lexus LF-ZC was canceled, Toyota approved its successor. Nakajima confirmed that everything built for the LF-ZC had already reached production readiness. The gigacasting system, the new electrical architecture for driver assistance, the next generation prismatic battery cells. None of it died with the car. The Arene software is not waiting for a future model. It is already running. It was deployed inside the 2026 RAV4, the best-selling vehicle Toyota makes. Read that again. Toyota did not cancel the technology. Toyota canceled the vehicle and kept everything that was inside it. The LF-ZC was never really the product. It was the reason to build the factory. And the moment the factory existed, the car became expendable. That is the decision. Not a retreat from electric vehicles. A company deciding that a manufacturing method was worth more than the machine it was designed to build. Which leaves exactly one question. If the plan is that good, why is Toyota still behind? Because the plan has a hole in it. Look at what Lexus is actually selling right now. The electric ES, the 3-row TZ crossover. Both of them ride on TNGA-K, the same architecture that sits underneath a Toyota Camry. They are profitable from the very first unit because the tooling is shared across the gasoline, hybrid, and electric versions of the same car. That is clever. It is also not a flagship. It is a company hedging. And hedging costs you the top of the market, which is exactly where the profit lives. Meanwhile, Toyota still buys most of its battery cells from outside suppliers. BYD builds its own, from the raw material upward. And BYD's chief executive has said publicly that his company will overtake Toyota as the world's largest automaker by scale within 5 years. That is not an analyst's forecast. That is a competitor announcing a deadline out loud in front of everyone. And Toyota's answer to it is a successor vehicle with no name, no specifications, and no announced date. So what did Toyota actually decide? It decided that a mold it could never change was too dangerous to order for a car it was not certain it could sell. It decided the technology mattered more than the badge bolted to the front of it. And it decided to let the rest of the industry spend first, fail publicly, and prove Akio Toyota's arithmetic on its own money. If the successor arrives on schedule, this will be remembered as the most disciplined decision any car maker made this decade. If it slips, the way the solid-state battery has slipped, and the way the LF-ZC itself slipped from 2026 to 2027 to never, then Toyota will have spent its lead buying time it never used. 6 straight years as the biggest car maker in the world. The 7th is the one that tells us which story was true. So what do you think? Was canceling the LF-ZC the smartest decision anyone in this industry has made, or the moment Toyota quietly handed away the next decade? Tell us honestly in the comments. And if this changed the way you see Toyota, hit like, share it with someone who still thinks they are behind, and subscribe. We will see you in the next one.